on Twitch. We're streaming our Weird Wednesday Blitz and Rap Chess challenges today. Instructive games with commentary and fun here on the stream. International Master William Paschall, located in the European Union for now. Budapest, Hungary. Here with Ponda. We're coming into you at Central European time. It's 11 a.m. CET. Welcome, Masturbate. How are you doing, buddy? I also want to recommend you guys check out my YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. I can't type caps. But, gotta get a new laptop. This is ridiculous. Caps lock not working. Alright. The shift key is not working, I should say. Let me see if the YouTube link works. I can sort of use the on-screen keyboard in tandem with some of the keys. I need to space that. Yeah, that worked. All right. A little on-screen keyboard. I need voice-activated keyboard. What's up, guys? International Master William Paschall. We're playing Blitz and Rapid Chess here with unusual openings. I'm going to try to rehabilitate the YouTube channel in the next months. Get some independent content going. Good to see you, Astrobate. Let's get some challenges. We'll get an innocent bystander in the lobby to start with. I just played a couple games in hourly tournaments, one Rapid, one Blitz. But they were pretty bad games, honestly. What I keep seeing is people just play like every single game like it's bullet chess. It doesn't matter if the time control is 10-0, 5-0, 5-5, 6-3. It doesn't matter. Everybody plays the game like it's 2-0 or 1-0. It's very strange. Imre Bardi Imre. Alright, 7+3. Both games were horrible that I just played. My opponents. Actually, the first one wasn't too bad. The Rapid one, he used 2 minutes for the whole game. Played 10 moves of theory and then made a very quick move that left, I guess, I left the book. And once we left book, he just kept playing fast, and he should have been slightly better, instead lost in like 10 moves. Dropping a piece in 10 moves. Seemed like a talented player. Alright, so weird openings today. I gotta stop myself from necessarily playing the Sicilian. What can we do to play something interesting here? To start things off. Start things off fun. I love the St. George. We go with that often. But sometimes a little too much, I think. Unusual openings. There's not that many. I mean, Chess 960 gives us a broader range of things we can do. But let's start with the St. George. You accidentally played a minute game. Minute game. That's like old school terminology. Minute minder. Is there anything else we could do? We could try something funky like C5, I guess. Backdoor move order to get into the I like this, the delayed St. George. Mimicking a French. You hope it was unrated. Ask me, do you have a bullet rating? Very important. Alright, here we go. Now white can choose. Choose your move here. This keeps us in the land. I guess it would keep us in the land of the St. George, but not necessarily. If I play b5 only. Let's try d6. Weird Benoni. Not a particularly good one with this a6 played early. It's like that Sesame Street Isn't Sesame Street? There's some Sesame Street joke. Really going out on a limb here. No, maybe it's not Sesame Street. It was something else. Yeah, another children's program when I was a little kid. I'm confusing Sesame Street with something else, but no Benoni is a good Benoni, is what I was going to say. We could almost transpose to a normal style Benoni. With an early A6, there are variations with early A6. It's designed to play for an early bishop g4 without being menaced by checks on the diagonal. So I guess we could do this straight away. There's also the issue of queen b3, queen takes b7, not being quite as strong. I remember I lost to the Czech Grandmaster Yuri Stoček. Yuri Stoček. In one of these Benonis with white. Probably like will transpose to that game if he plays bishop d3. Actually, Arsenal fan was asking me yesterday to play the Benoni. So, welcome Antonio Blobix and Anna No. We'll just call you Anna No. Like anonym. Anna No. Queen takes f3 g6. And we've turned it from a delayed St. George to an a6 Benoni. I've found most often that the queen on f3 is typically misplaced. I was just wondering if I could go postal here with something like bishop g5, trying to play e5 and knight e4, but it's probably too much. So we'll transpose. I remember the game I lost against Stoček. I don't remember if I played a4 or not. Typically, white will play a4 to restrict b5. But the main theme is that black trades one piece and has less problems with cramp in the position. In the Benoni, it's very important you don't get saddled with your bishop being stuck on c8 forever and your knight having, nowhere to go other than in the way of the bishop, and you just end up with like too many pieces that can't really have enough space to move around. White here in this case, queen on f3. I could have already played knight on bd7 at any moment, threatening knight e5. So this might be better than, say, playing bishop g5, because the pawn on d6 is undoubtedly my weak point. Now, queen g3 could up the pressure on d6. I could always play knight e8. I don't really like it, but it does the job. If I play knight h5, for example, bishop h2, and g4 will be threatened. But I suppose I could do it. A lot of times, like, white plays g4 in those positions, and it's not clear if that's weakening the white king side or actually giving him a space advantage, or which is more important. Anyway, can I play a game with you? I only meet requirement in classical, I think. It doesn't matter. Like, I just generally care that people have enough games. They're not like playing with an account they created yesterday. So if you have close to 100 games, it's cool. Queen g3, gunning for the d6 pawn, but he gets extrapolated if you try to play bishop takes d6 here. But this is Interesting attempt to justify the queen position on f3. We have challenges from, Anna no. Yeah, I mean, I don't care. That's fine. Any kind of games. I respect the classical games more than blitz. So, Imre Barty just lost the queen. Never take candy from strangers. See, that's the problem. They don't really have trick-or-treating at Halloween here in Hungary, so he's not as circumspect about trick-or-treating. But I don't give out candy at Halloween. I'm too cheap. Last couple of years, the trick-or-treaters didn't even come to my house in America. All right, but objectively, you don't take the pawn. I'm thinking maybe there's a way White can use the center here. 98 was a passive move. I'm not sure if this was best. Been played once. Ironically, this position has a poor score for Black. There's an old game, 1972. It was a good year, by the way. Very good year. But I think it's funny that the one game where Black didn't lose was when the guy played 98. Girl, in this case, woman. It's a 2019 game. That's amazing. 98, Queen G3, 97. Another game with Dmitry Kononenko. And this simply. So White simply has some space advantage here. And he made a one-move mistake. All right. We were lucky. So I will take the challenges. Fur Ace challenging me to this weird time control, 8+3. No. The longest time control we do is 7+3. So try again. Standard. It's no longer called classical, it's standard. Standard transmission. Morales is a subscriber. We will take the subscribers first. Anyways. Ask me, you have 10,000 games. Alright, what are we going to do? Morales. I was trying to find ways to play against your nonsense yesterday. You know what's really disturbing, Antonio? For me, at least? That gambit that you play, whatever it is, the Urasov gambit, I was looking at the games where, strong players have faced that. And in, 9 out of 10 cases, everybody plays, knight c6 and tries to transpose. The strong GMs who face that gambit, they all just, chicken out. And they don't try to win the pawn. They just play, knight c6 and transpose to the two knights defense. Or whatever. I mean, doesn't anybody have any principles? It's just ridiculous. Anyway. Another story, though. I have White today, and we're trying to play unusual openings. Well, I mean, it's a gambit, it's a playable gambit, but I still think, the way to refute a gambit is to accept it, not to just transpose to, a normal opening. Everyone's just lazy, I think they all have the same thing. My idea of b5 might be the refutation. I mean, there's no complete refutation. It's just another interesting line where Black might be able to get a small edge if he played perfectly. But I'm just surprised how I look at every time somebody who was over 2,600 faced that move order, they all transposed. It's ridiculous. So I have no one to draw upon, really. Maybe I should look and find some old games. See what the real masters, the pre-computer era players did with Black. All right. So, unusual openings here. What are we going to... No Grob. We don't do the Grob, really. What am I going to play? He tries to play the Budapest Gambit all the time. I had an idea. He probably won't play that, though. You will not. You're not going to play the Budapest Gambit? I'll save it for next time. Master, what should I do to gain 100 ELO points the next 20 games? First thing you do is you write a letter to FIDE petitioning for a higher K factor. What is your K factor, Blobix? 20? Budapest was aborted. That's bad. I wanted to play against Budapest. I had something up my sleeve. That sucks, man. It would even count as an unusual opening. He wants to take back now. Key move. K factor. Key factor, he called it. You'll play E5. Key factor. Your key factor is 20. That's not too bad. It's really juicy when they add the 40. Downtown. Car park. Pawn to be wild. Downtown. I knew a guy from Chicago who used to say that. Not Chinatown, though. He would just say downtown. Knight H3. Oh, Kamsky did this? But it makes sense. We need the knight F4. Anyway, I play knight H6. I like to play knight H6 with black. Knight H3. I play knight H3 a lot when I'm on tilt, especially when I just troll people. I don't think it's bad here because, principally you're putting knight on the side of the board, but it's an investment in the future. Here, here, here. I think that's a weak point in the Budapest Gambit and this type of structure. D5. So I'm not so interested in keeping the pawn. I'm interested in the square D5 for the long term. Yeah, I actually, to be honest, I'm not even sure what you're supposed to do. I think most people probably go for the pawn. Obviously F2 is protected. That's sort of the side benefit of this move. I suppose you could fianchetto, something you could never do in the normal lines. Like, that's another interesting idea. G3. Knight takes E5, bishop G2. Very slight reservations about that, but probably. It's not a problem. What should you do? Me do or you do? Are you asking me personally, Blobix? I didn't get to your question. You're asking in general, you're asking for you, or you're asking for me? Because the answer might be different. Yeah, no, ELO points in live tournament play. Well, I mean, obviously, like, if you're underrated, you should play as much as possible, as quickly as possible, in a very short period to, like, sort of pump your rating up quickly. I'm getting more and more underrated now. I mean, it was one thing when I was like 2375, and then it got to like 2350. Now I'm like under 2340. And I think I'm at the point now where I could probably, if I played in normal tournaments, not like the last one I played in where there was a lot of these underrated little kids, and it was a horrible tournament actually for me to play in. If I played in average tournaments, I should probably automatically gain points. But like 30 points is pretty hard. For me to gain 30 points, you've got to consider that I have 100 points, you said. I have a 10k factor. I'm screwed for life. Like, there's no way I can gain a lot of ELO points. Even though I'm underrated by 50 to 100 points, it would take me like the rest of my life to gain 100 ELO points. Do you know how hard it is to gain points when your K factor is 10? It's like almost impossible. So this is a funny position. If b3, bishop d4, black wins material. We got to play this first. This is starting to remind me of... This is going to sound very strange. For some reason, this is starting to remind me of the Leningrad Dutch. For me to gain 100 rating points, it would be awesome, but... I mean, I'm lucky if I can gain like 10 or 15 or 20 rating points. If I beat an equal rated opponent, I gain 6 points. Let's say. If I beat someone who's 2350, I gain 6 points. So for me to gain 100 rating points, I have to beat 20 2350s. How long would that take to go plus 20 against 2350s? Let's say I'm playing... Seriously, let's say I'm playing really well. I'm in good form, and I'm playing like 2500 strength. Like, I'm back to my best ever peak strength of all time. Even if I was at my peak strength of 2350 or 2500, let's say, 2475, whatever. Say my peak strength was 2475. I mean, it's going to take me like years to gain 100 rating points. Meanwhile, there are like little kids running around with 10k factors who gain and lose like 20 points in one game. I mean, it's not, to me, it's not a sound system. I mean, that's just arbitrary. I'm very, very disappointed with the United States government. I mean, FIDE, sorry. Alright, anyway. So your K factor starts at 10 for little children's, or I guess starting players. I guess when you get to a certain point, and I don't really understand what it is, your K factor goes to 20. I don't know what the cutoff... It's not clear to me what the cutoff is. I mean, you start out at 40, I'm sorry. I'm saying start out at 10. You start out at 40 when you're a beginner. Then it goes to like 20 and 10. I think there might even be 30 at some point. It's to me, it's like, I'm not a mathematician, but it seems mathematically unsound. Knight e4, knight f3 check is his trick. Always there's some trick. Even here, he's got some weird trick. Originally, there were like 2k factors, I think. But then FIDE expanded it to make little kids and beginners be able to gain and lose rating points more quickly. But it's gotten ridiculous. People's ratings like fluctuate when they're beginners too much, and the established players, once you go over 2400 FIDE, because I was over 2400 for a long time, for years, you get the 10k factor, and then you're screwed for life. As far as I know, it never goes away. My rating is like never going to move by more than 12 points at the maximum on a game. If I lost to to the worst player in the world, I would lose 12 points. If I beat Magnus Carlsen, I would only gain 12 points. Yeah. Morales, Queen H6. I feel this inclination to play H4. Let's do it this way. You're going to regret it if you play G5. Well, I think it does encourage old people. Discourage older players. It certainly discourages me. It encourages little kids with the 10K factor while discouraging experienced players like myself. Yeah, I'm discouraged. There's basically no way I can gain points. Just watching my rating like incrementally go down. Okay, so now is G5 a threat? Well, I have no choice. I don't know. I have to stop the mate on H2. It's a very subtle play here by black. You took my knight on E4. What's that about? I'm getting kind of confused. I think I might have knight H5, but then he's got bishop takes G4. Presuming he doesn't find a new way to sacrifice his rook. Basically everything is based around 400, whatever you call it. What is that? Mathematically, that 400 differential. No, I think the system is bogus. Didn't used to be like that. I mean, the 400 is fine, but you can't have people with 400, 40 or 4K, 40 with 40 and 10K factors in the same world. It's ridiculous. And also it creates rating inflation. When I lose to some little kid, I'm losing 12 points, but he's gaining I don't know how many. It's just inflating the whole system. Ooh, this looks weird now. I guess we'll just try to find a way to sacrifice material. If I have a place to put my queen. What? F6? That was weird. My internet just get hijacked or something? Wow, my internet just got screwed. That was weird. Ping 44. We're just hanging. What happened there? Why? I mean, a lot of tournaments for Rossador in the world you should be allowed to play in the open section. I mean, if you go to Philadelphia in July and play in the World Open, one of the biggest open tournaments in the world, anybody can play in the open section. It's FIDE rated. This idea of forcing people to play in an under 1200 section is totally arbitrary. I'm not sure that, all chess tournaments go by that kind of rule. A lot of open tournaments anybody can play. I've played open tournaments as an international master and faced unrated players. It certainly happens. I don't think there's any way you can bar players from playing. So Morales fell down. So what happened? I wanted to sack the exchange. You played this insane move. You're winning. You're just winning. My idea was too fantastic. So rook takes e2. Now I missed this. I was mostly concerned about bishop takes e2, and I wanted to sack the exchange, and I thought it was. Apparently, it's something. It's interesting. But what I didn't see was that Morales has this. Rook takes e2. Just crushing. All right. Wow. Really uncompromising game. No, we got no subscriber challenges. Wait. Jay Daradanas is it you who was a subscriber? Some people got gift subs. If anybody got a gift sub, whether otherwise a subscriber, let me know. And they're challenging me. This wannabe 2700. I don't know who they are. Achievement unlocked. Don't know who they are. We can play them. Give them a guest acceptance. All right. Random titled player. Weird opening. Giving him priority. So, all right. The first exchange sack was incorrect as well. Your exchange sack was incorrect. You want the Polish opening. By request. Polish opening is not that bad. It's not as bad as the Grob. At least you're not weakening the king side. I've never faced knight a6 before. It's an interesting idea. I don't feel like bringing his knight toward the center here. And I don't think I can just sacrifice a pawn. c3 is ugly. So leaves us only with b5. His knight is not ideal, but my pawn is kind of overextended, so we're in a bit of a slightly tricky spot there. I'm not sure I like this. It looks like he's played this before. I'm not super crazy about it. He's done this before. So it's some sort of tricky idea. So if I take on d5 and he plays knight takes b5 and I play e4, that's interesting. Probably unsound. I think my pawn's just overextended. I feel like he had better. Now basically we have a weird sort of symmetrical English, where it's like a Rubinstein symmetrical English where his knight is on, the wrong knight is on c7. Develop pieces. Sicilian-like. I'm certain he had better. Oh, it's about Sokolsky. Other people call it the Sokolsky opening. It's the same way like we call the Volga Gambit, the Benko Gambit. Well, not really. I mean, Sokolsky is Polish, so... Benko and Volga are unrelated. Bad analogy. So bishop takes g7. Unfortunately, that's nothing for me. So here we are. In equal position, it appears. I could play d3 and knight d2, but I hang my pawn on b5. That sort of sucks. Yeah, the hedgehog approach isn't going to cut it with that pawn just hanging. Actually, I could have played it. He couldn't take right away, but eventually I would have problems with my b5 pawn. I would have to play a4 and then lose the b4 square. So I think it's in my best interest not to play d3. So this is a famous story Pawn to be Wild is mentioning, which I believe is the explanation, the historic explanation. I'm reluctant to play knight d2 because his knights are redundant, and trading that off probably helps him more than it helps myself. Okay, knight takes, bishop takes. What do you want to do? Well, is e5 an issue? Is the first question. Perhaps. I'm going to play, yeah, I mean, you can basically predict his moves. Here, though, I was going to play queen b3. All right. I'll pick a diagonal. If he goes to f7, we go to the b1 diagonal. If he stays on g6, we stay here. We have to get off this diagonal now. It was fun while it lasted. Kind of Queen's Gambit accepted style structure. Moment of truth. Ponda. We could throw in bishop d3, soften up his king side a bit. But then it might be a target. But either way, he's going to have some stuff. Little massage. The art of massage. No, I was going to play a4. It's not really necessary. That's nothing but just sheer. b5 is just a fancy move for the sake of making a fancy move. Nothing wrong with it. All respect to the fancy moves. My queen's kind of jammed here. Knight e4 is interesting. It could end with me losing a piece. He's a bullet player, so clearly like more reliant on speed. What am I doing? mean, there is potential to sacrifice a piece on e5 for the long diagonal. But I'm not of the idea here that I can necessarily do that unless we get like 3 pawns or really convincing threats. Welcome to the stream, guys. Please support the stream by subscribing. Follow us on lichess. You can also check out my YouTube channel. I'm going to try to rehabilitate the YouTube, which I haven't done much with. Rehabilitation. He's so fast, dude. What's this about? Headed for c4 and a4. We have to change. Change what? Just dropping pieces isn't good. So my knight is sort of overextended. What's the issue here? c4 square. It's just a really strong move. I have no idea who this player is, by the way. Zero. Completely anonymous. No way to defend. I like to see black center pawn lost in this game. I was a little better. But this is amazing now. Watch this. b5. b5 was on the radar for a second on the engine there. I mean, the computer wants me to play h4. It's a good move. Everything was under control here. I'm supposed to be clearly better than what happened? Knight b3. Rook a7, that's engine move. I don't even know what rook a7. No, rook a7 preempting knight c5. Now another move. This last 2 moves were the top choices of the computer. Very strong maneuver going to c4. And suddenly my position is just like clearly worse in 2 moves. At this point, I'm plus one if I play h4, which almost nobody would play. It doesn't look like I have a kingside attack here. And the guy did it all in like 1 minute. Three inaccuracies the whole game for black. Does anyone know who this is? Mostly bullet, and totally anonymous. No idea who that is, but it's more like GM strength. All right, El Rosador, subscriber. Weird openings. To be fair, I don't know what I'm doing in the Polish opening, but he also played knight a6, which was weird. All right, let's try the Owen defense in honor of Acerbate. I feel like it's not as good as the St. George, but it's less weakening. It's less active, too. No surprises here. Bishop d3. Played instantly. Most people probably play knight f3 or... Yeah, I guess bishop d3 is pretty normal, actually. If I play c5, white can play d5. What's up, Mr. Coffee? So this preempted defense of e4, it looks like this pawn is weak. But how can black put pressure on it? We could just play a hippo. This is not my favorite. But I've been known to play the hippo. I have a thing for double fianchetto anyway. Particularly difficult to play against. Just a standard hippo type of formation. I've played this like with white a million times. The problem is keeping these two pawns protected in a convenient way. And then finding a meaningful plan for white, which is not that easy. There was a book recently written on the hippopotamus, portraying it as sort of opening. But it's a formation. I've said this before. Bishop f4, one of the logical squares for the bishop to go to. Yul Skinner, you said what? You lost to that guy twice when he had less than 2100 lichess rating. When was that? I mean, did he like go from 2100 to 2700 overnight or something? He has an IM title next to his name. 1 year ago? I'm guessing it's a kid, with the amount of bullet that he plays. This e5 looks like a strong move, preempted by rook d1. I probably have to close the center. Yeah, I don't know. I have 3 games against him, 2 losses and a draw. No idea who it is. They don't speak. I don't really appreciate anonymous players beating on me. I like it when people have an identity. It's just blitz chess, It's not like I'm going to prepare for his tournament games with his online blitz play or something. Much more respect for people who aren't anonymous. All right. H3. So, white's struggling now to find a plan after closing the center. It's also not easy for black, of course. What I try to do when I'm white against the hippo is basically try to keep the tension as long as possible. But it's never easy. Oftentimes I'll centralize my rooks like that and bring the bishops back to like f1 and c1 actually. Now I'm threatening c5. Threatening to trap his bishop, of course. The whole board might get closed. Mahor just cheered 300. Thank you. Well, we were threatening to trap his bishop. We still are, I guess. I would be mindful of him sacrificing a piece in some positions. But it looks like white has made a major concession. This bishop became a monster overnight. Like the title player I just lost to. That bishop went from 2100 to 2700 in 1 year. In one move. Extremely dangerous. But I wouldn't underestimate white's position. I've been a hippo connoisseur for a long time. Possible to play g5 and knight g6 and let him take on g6, believe it or not. I really want to watch for tactics. I think he's trying to just prevent me from castling here. I'm not sure how big an issue it actually is right at this moment. My central pawns just controlling a lot of squares. His minor pieces, these guys, have difficulty doing something really constructive. Nimzovichian comes to mind when I see white set up here. Trading off on c5, establish a blockade. I'm not at all sure about queen b6. This is fast time control. I can't castle. I don't like king f8, king g8, king h7. I know this Ukrainian IM who always plays the hippo, and he always like manually walks his king over to h7. I mean, that's okay for bullet chess, but I'm not sure that's what I should do. I mean, I have the right to castle, and I think that's something that should be nurtured. It's a major advantage, like in chess 960, to be able to castle in some sudden moment when the opponent doesn't expect it. Nimzovich, as I said. The problem is if I play queen b4, he gains control of the central square, d4. But this way I get the queens off the board. I'm comfortable playing endgames, usually, so... But still I can try g5. You know, the game could easily end up in like 2 knights versus 2 bishops. g5, bishop g3, knight d4, g5, bishop g3, knight g6, bishop g6, fg6. I lose the e6. That's not even an option there. His knight on d4 is too strong. That needs to go. Okay, so probably that even tells us the best move after knight to d4. This is strong. I can't even play g5, knight g6. And this is the target, so this move is basically forced. But it's a good move. And now I have him tied down to e5. He's going to have to exchange off his best piece. His knight has issues on a4. Still, he has enough space advantage that you could probably say white is okay. Alright, this was unexpected. Wonder if this is a mistake. He could have played knight takes c6 there and knight takes c3 as well. So now the e5 pawn is just on prise. Maybe he has compensation. It's deep. Okay, I'm looking at knight takes, knight b6. It's probably not a big deal, right? What does knight b6 do? Maybe I should put my rook on a7 anyway, so I don't get pinned. I'm taking these challenges next. These are not subscribers, just people's. The knight on there on b6 is too good. I don't want to put my rook on a7. Second thought. Not a good idea. It'll get sidelined. This is much better. I have a place to move it. Rook a7 was a very bad suggestion. The hippo emerges from the water with the pawn in its jaws. That'd be a cool. I need a cool image for my YouTube channel. That'd be awesome. A hippo with a pawn in its jaws. To commission an artist. I like these knights though. They're getting kind of nasty. I mean, I like them for you, not for me. Gotta be careful. Knight takes here. I really ought to get out of here. I mean, I'm facing knight c5 though. That's bothering me. It's not the end of the world. Don't be materialistic. Knight c5, knight d3. There's also an interesting move in rook d6. Rook d6. That's a good way to lose the exchange, actually. Rook a7, that's your favorite square. No, I don't care about this pawn. Have the a pawn. We've got 2 bishops. 2 bishops for 2 knights. I called it. He fell for my sneaky trap. Never ever believe what I say. No, I don't want to. I don't want to tell you the truth. Occasionally you have to mix in some lies with the truth. Keep you on your toes. Alright, let's get some more challenges. Guys, please subscribe. Yeah, the graphic of, yeah. Hippo with a pawn in its jaws. I think that's perfect. Alright. I'll go to the Budapest Zoo and see if I get one of the hippos. Get one of the hippos to cooperate with like a giant pawn. Be arrested for animal abuse. So E3. Well, we're supposed to play unusual openings. I'll play the Dutch. The Dutch are unusual in a good way. Bobix has to leave. We're sorry, man. Come back tomorrow for the subscriber stream, guys. Subscriber stream Thursday. I need a paper. Subscriber stream Thursday, 6:30 p.m. CET. Please submit games. I don't think we have any submissions. Thursday. Exactly. One of the outdoor oversized chess pieces for... Yeah, like you see those giant oversized lifelike chess sets or whatever. One of those big plastic ones. Throw it in Hippo's jaws. That'd be awesome. In the hippo enclosure. They always just stand there. It would be easy to do. They always just stand there with their mouth open when the zookeepers are trying to feed them. They like dump food in there. They will stand there with their mouth open for a long time sometimes. Jim, we miss you. It's E3 versus the hippo. I mean, I have a hippo on my brain. E3 versus the Dutch. Fun and unusual opening. The funny part is I think like White should be trying to play E4 in this position. I had a system against the Dutch I was trying to do where I would play like knight d2, c3, and queen c2 and play for e4. Like a kind of modified Coley system where you Cole system, whatever you call it, where you basically don't waste tempo on e3. Here he's going to have to lose a move. Bishop c4. Temporarily closing the diagonal. The plan is maybe to play e5. Yeah, I think this is a good plan. Bishop e2. The bishop on c4 is odd, but I don't really want to play d5. You know, so ultimately that doesn't seem bad. I could opt for a double fianchetto here as well. The theme of the day. You gave me the idea. I'm not sure about bishop a3. What if he plays bishop a3? In the Dublin Zoo. Sort of perverse Irish hippos. I guess I should just castle. I mean, there's no reason not to castle here. Yeah, hippos are just fertilizer machines. Knight. What's the developmental plan here? This is always a problem. Hippos are very dangerous. That's why it makes such a great chess animal. Along with pandas. Panda is not so dangerous. Have pandas ever been lethal? Has there ever been like a deadly encounter with a panda? Hippos are distinctly lethal. So, a3 and b4, an interesting idea. Debatable move now. a5, weakening myself on the queen side. Chess for Tigers. There's a book by Simon Webb. Maybe someone's been killed by pandas accidentally while the panda was shaving. I'm sure that fatal accidents have occurred with less dangerous animals than pandas. But anyway, it's not a very pleasant conversation. I'm not sure about a5. Temporarily stopping b4. I thought his plan was to play b4, and it looked like he unravels to some degree if I let him play b4. He really should just bring this back at some point. Maybe bishop d3 now. Bishop d3 threatening e4? Perhaps? The paw-paw. Paw-paw. Why is that strangely familiar? I was planning this long ago. One of the only ways to get the Queen's Indian knight over to the king side. I have a friend in Harvard Square, in Boston, Cambridge to be exact. We call it the Raoul maneuver. Raoul is a well-dressed Mexican gentleman, plays chess, and has stylish boots. He likes to play knight c3, knight e2, knight g3 with white pieces. Same theme here, knight c6, knight e7, knight g6. The reversed Raoul. But this is actually a maneuver used in real openings. Sometimes occasionally in the Nimzo. See, his bishop wasn't destined, let's say, to stay on c4 for eternity, until eternity. We are going to need to play d6 at some point. Then we move all the pawns. It's a pawn. One more pawn to go with c5. We're going to hold that back. The base. Protect the base of the pawn chain, kids. Morphy would be appalled by Black's formation. Not sure I really like the knight on g6, honestly. Stay in your lane. Don't cross to my territory, dude. That's a debatable decision by White. Bishops are my business. Oh man, almost have a nasty tactic. Uh-oh. I want to talk like you. Capablanca. Capablanca, however, was Mexican. I mean, Mexican was Cuban. I don't know if he had boots. I like long diagonals. This knight f4 and he kind of settles in there. I'd rather keep the tension going. It's a little bit of a tricky situation here. Probably I should just play e5. I should have just played e5 right away. But I mean, black has a monster position. Morphy versus Nimzovich. No. Not exactly. But I will say that Jade Dardanas is playing really solid this game. Raul's a good guy. All right. White to move. Now the question is, knight takes or pawn takes? Or other? The plan was knight takes, actually. I think pawn takes is okay. This obviously opens up the rook. The rook. What am I going to do, though? He's going to play knight c4. White's still hanging on. The rook. Get me out of here. Distance pieces. Bishops are distance. Distance pieces, for sure. How's the base of my pawn chain? Good. King, check. I don't know, the king's a little exposed there. Maybe it should go back to h8. Target acquired. Now it's over. No way. It's a bad joke. No way, Jose. In honor of Capablanca. But that's not good. And the white square bishop. No rematch. No rematch. Blizzard is a challenger. We have a subscriber. Guys, I've got to go at 1 o'clock, so please nobody else challenge me. I hope that I can even get Learning Chess, challenge me to 7+4. It's too long. Learning Chess, if you could re-challenge me to something like 5+3, you'd have a much better chance of getting to all these games. 7+4 is not a valid time control. Alright, I'm going to play as many of these games as I can by 1 o'clock, but nobody else challenge me. Too many games. I've got to leave at least 15 minutes early. Wednesday is a busy day. I've got to make a recording for chesslecture.com, which is a site that I work for, making chess audio lectures. A6 again. This is like the Basman, but it's too much for me. I'm not going to play that. I refuse bullet on principle. You know that. A6 might work out here. Knight f6 is fine. Then c4 for white. The problem is c4 by white. It should give him an advantage. I like incorporating the early bishop g4. What if I were to take? This is the anti-hippo. Now he's got the sort of hippo going on. See if we can play against it. A6 not a really useful move, but it's not really harmful. I wouldn't call it harmful. White squares. How about bishop b4? Two bishops versus two knights. This is my big case all the time. Oh. I wouldn't do that if I were you. But that's just my personal style. c3 is probably not that bad. It's even possible it's the best move. So if bishop c5, b4, dynamic. I would have played a3 and just taken the two bishops. Interesting, different perception here by white. Don't forget, tomorrow night, subscriber stream. I am accepting 10 games we're going to go over during the stream, live here with commentary. If you want to submit a game, you're a subscriber, do so please by tomorrow. 6:30 p.m. tomorrow night here on lichess and Twitch. Yeah, this is the attempt to justify c3. And the only way to justify c3 is by playing c4. Surprisingly. Funny, if I go bishop b4 now, probably cd, knight d5, knight c4. So it looks like a good Sicilian for white. If d4, I also have a weird move here, knight b4. How does he meet knight b4? How do I play after that? Knight b4, queen b1, or knight b4, queen e2. There's a lot of moves after knight b4. Knight b4 looks artificial. I kind of like white after this move. I could play d4. My position feels hollow. White is better. Looks like a good Sicilian for white. Well, if I play d4, I lose my white squares almost entirely. Well, white just has a good Sicilian here. I mean, I already am worse on the white squares. One last look at knight b4. This is like playing that IM 2700 guy. He's like 4 times the speed of me. Okay, the problem is I oftentimes have a hard time adjusting between the different time controls. One game I play 7+3, and then the next game I play like 5+3, and play at the same pace as if I'm playing the same time control. It's not good. That's a serious problem. I started out this game as if I was playing the same time control again. Gonna run out of time. Running out of time. Playing this opening too slow. I mean, I would play exactly the same way if I were white. That's what he did, basically. Black's just trying to maintain the position, hold the line. The white scored bishop. This is bonus. Free bonus. Let's put some pawns on white squares. That's my plan. Start putting some pawns on white squares. Maybe h5 is a little too much, but whatever. h5 was a little frisky. White seems extremely strong. Well, that's going to make it impossible to deal with that. That's a problem. Just running out of moves. I just lost on time. Nice. That's weird. Where did the last second go? I was just letting go of the mouse with knight b6. White is clear advantage. Of course. This is best move. I don't know if white wants to trade queens here or not. Clear advantage. Yeah, this was extremely well played game by white. Of course, I'm trying to play unusual openings. c3 is best move according to the engine. I would have automatically played a3 there. Actually, the engine wants to play castles now. Doesn't even like a3 at all. Huh. I definitely would have played a3 and just taken the 2 bishops with tempo. This is, for me, a very deep move. c3 and then c4. I mean, h3 is a bit strange. That's actually one of the top 2 suggestions of the engine for a moment, but then it changes to g3, which is actually, I think, a little more natural to put the bishop back on g2. For me, h3, I didn't want to play f5. It was a bit too weakening. So I played h5. h5's not good. All right. So I'm going to play a couple more games. I have until a little bit after 1. I didn't mean to lose on time, but it was a difficult position. I'm not exactly Mr. Mouse skills. Possible to challenge twice. Not unless there's like no challenges. All right. So what are we going to do? King's Indian. My old love. But I rarely play the King's Indian. First of all, it's difficult to play in short time controls, I think. And secondly, my theoretical knowledge is kind of out of date. So I don't play this too much. Very briefly, like a couple years ago, I started to try to get back into it, but I don't play enough. Now, even 1200s play the Makaganov system, which is one of the more annoying lines for white to play. I play with that guy. What's his deal, Jim? I was supposed to play weird openings. I'm sorry, I forgot. Sometimes I forget. We'll play a Benko. Weird Benko. No, I won't play bullet chess. I'd rather just play something else like tic-tac-toe. That's principle. But I sent white spiraling out of control with the unexpected b5. There's no need for bullet chess. Blitz is fast enough. just like, if you want to be a great fast player, I mean, there's no need to play anything faster than 3.0. Jim, I don't know anything about that player. It's challenged me 3 games. It has 2.5 out of 3. Morales said that he was like 2100 a year ago. How do you go from 2100 to being a 2700 blitz bullet IM? This is a blunder. Obviously, I win a piece with... I think I win a piece with a6, but we should actually... Yeah, I should just play a6 and win a piece. Queen a4. Bishop b7. I'm not paying attention. Distracted by the chat. Clearly, rather than winning a pawn, I should win a piece here with a6. Knight b5 is a blunder. But white should lose anyway because of the central pawn. After knight e2, knight takes e4. b5 is a sort of bad Benko. You have to take pawn takes pawn. I play a6. This has been played... I saw Jay Bonnen play it once against Serper. It's been played in Master Games. I just don't think it's a particularly great Benko for black. h3 is a fairly useful move. But I should have won a piece here. Not sure that she can save the piece. It's gone anyway, right? You could make that argument that it's lost anyway, like you can't salvage it. Bill Bixby. LVN2K. One of our faithful gift subbers. I'm glad that the gift subs go to somebody who is regularly watching the stream. That's always cool. Jim actually resubscribed. It's hard to believe you only subscribed for 16 months, Jim. It seems like you've been here since the beginning. How many games do I have against you? Not as many as some of the 200 club. I'm really sorry Nefedov was never here. But I don't know what the deal was with that player you're talking about. I hate it when people are anonymous. I didn't even trust lichess completely for verifying people's titles and stuff like that. How carefully do they verify, like, the title players? How do you? I don't even remember. They I'm not going to talk about it, but like the way they verified my title was kind of not very scientific, or let's say I wouldn't think it would be valid in a court of law or something. Just I'm wondering, can you trust everybody that has like IM or GM next to their name? I'd almost bet like there are people who kind of fake it. Like, I didn't have to send in like a photocopy of my ID or something, They just sort of trusted me. Well, I mean, there is some truth to it. I'm saying, like, when my FIDE title was, the way they verified my FIDE title was really shoddy, for example. That was a long time ago, though. I do like conspiracy theories. Nothing out of hand, though. I'm not into denying concrete happenings and things like that. I mean, but like, think about like lichess. It's a free site. They don't have that much financial support. They're gonna make some mistakes, Well, seeing from where you're from doesn't guarantee you are X. You're from the same country, but it doesn't mean you're Grandmaster Bob. I'm just saying I don't like playing anonymous people. And it's hard to verify their identity. I would never play in a chess tournament for money on the internet, The internet is only for practice. Right, no, I mean, no. Yeah. No, you don't see the suspiciously low. The other day, I never play on Internet Chess Club, but just out of curiosity, I logged onto their site and checked, like, there's nobody playing there. And I didn't play, but I looked at the seat graph. There was, like, it was really sad. There was this, like, IM seeking challenges who was 1,800. I was like, man, how is an IM 1,800? Yeah, I mean, the FIDE site is just totally corrupt and about money. And that's not a conspiracy theory. It's just fact. I would never play on the FIDE site unless they cleaned it up and made it legit. Well, that's true. I mean, I don't know, about 1,800 is a little extreme. Like, I know I am sort of drifting down to 2,100. $2,050, but to be under 2,000, I'll be dead before that. I don't even see I could be under 2,200 ever. I'd have to try, like, or have some sort of brain damage. You did draw a position against a 1,700 CM, but chess.com is bogus, dude. There's all kinds of computers on that site. You can't trust anybody. Everybody cheats there. They don't even make it easy for you to report cheaters. They purposely make it hard so they don't lose subscribing players. Yeah, my friend Emil, he's 2100. I am. But he's underrated. He shouldn't be that low. He kept playing all these 1800s from India who were playing they're 2200 in FM tournaments, FM rating tournaments. I like how on the Forbidden Chess site they let people put nasty comments in your profile. It's just ridiculous. Oh, just about to take that. Give me that. I can't get out of here. Let me out of here. I should have taken that earlier before I applied the acerbate maneuver. Well, I mean, the dude cost me 3 rating points myself. I didn't really want to draw with him. I mean, that's why I ended up losing 5 or 6 rating points in the tournament. I gave him a draw. And he's rated 2080. It's a disaster. I don't know the last time I had a draw with a 2080. Never. Never in since, I don't know. The last time, maybe, yeah, okay, it happened once or twice in the last 10 years, but very frequently. There was 1 or 2. Once I lost to this lady in Hastings who was 2050 in the first round. I remember that. I was overpressing. Usually that's the most common way to lose to a low-rated player. He was a strong player, dude. But you have to go over 2400 to be an IM. Or you're supposed to. There are exceptions for things like zonal tournaments. If you win the African Zonal Championship, it doesn't matter if you're 2150, you'll still get the IM title. Anatoly Karpark. But for the most part, IMs legitimately have to reach 2400. That's the rule. That's why my K factor is 40. I mean 10. And it's weird. There was this other Hungarian IM that I almost had to play a month ago. And the guy is an IM and relatively young, and he doesn't have a 40K or doesn't have a 10K factor. And I don't understand, how can you be an IM and not have a 10K factor? So he can gain rating points at twice the rate as me. Because FIDE enacted this rule, maybe after he got his title or something. At some point, FIDE created this changing in the K factors or whatever. I don't understand. No, not the guy from Vietnam. This other guy, this Ukrainian guy that I didn't play. No, he's a Hungarian guy that I didn't play. But he's rated 2320. He's become an IM in the last 10 years. And his K factor is 20. And I don't understand, how is it possible? In order to become an IM, you have to reach 2400 FIDE. If you reach 2400 FIDE, your K factor automatically becomes 10. So how can this guy arbitrarily have the IM title and have a K factor of 20? Because I'm just completely frustrated with the stupid K factor. I can't even gain or lose rating points. I was just joking today how if I beat Magnus Carlsen, I would gain 12 rating points. 12 ELO points. Now, FIDE is a disaster. The rating system, titles. This is a kind of cool move order by Black. I'm falling into some kind of I've fallen for some kind of Simon Williams is the word I'm looking for. Simon Williams trick. No, I think that Black should play so D5 now, maybe. I mean, can't you just steer this into a... What about steering it into a stone wall now? With d5. Now my rook's on a stupid square on e1. And my knight's on the wrong square. I think d5 is interesting. Well, the K factors start at 40 now. They used to be like 20. And so it's crazy. Like, people who are starting out, you can be like, I don't know, 1900 and play in 5 tournaments and gain like 150 or 200 rating points. There was this guy from India who I played 2 years ago. His rating was like 1900. He was an arena IM or some ridiculous title. Rated 1900. He had a 40K factor and he gained like 250 rating points in 1 month, playing like 4 tournaments. I mean, it's absurd, you know. Like, I can gain a maximum of like 25 rating points in 4 tournaments. This guy's rating can change by 250. I mean, I guess some of the old players who are really declining like the fact that their rating can't change, you know. But I'm like locked into this situation now, where I don't want my rating to be unable to move. I didn't play an unusual opening this time. I was too worried about trying to get these games done. At this point, we just had a couple challenges left. The theme was supposed to be unusual openings. Once in a while I get off track, especially when the conversation starts to get distracting. I get passionate about things like ratings, FIDE, politics. Well, I had like 2 years where I didn't lose. I literally had like 2 years where I lost maybe like 2 games out of 50. Mostly draws, and I still lost like 15 ELO points, 20. But someone mentioned it earlier, the K factor thing discourages older players, like, there's no doubt. When you go to tournaments, you know, all I see are young players. They're encouraged by the rating system. I don't think the rating K factor should be determined by age of the players. Ratings matter just because people used to give the extra factor to your title? You mean I get more respect, or players get more respect? Is that what you're saying? Well, like, the U.S. Chess Federation has rating floors, so that people who like achieve 2200, or maybe like Life Master. So if you're like a senior player and you've achieved 2300 at some point, they like lock you in at 2200 and you can't go down. But it's really bad for the system because it creates a lot of rating inflation. You know, I don't expect anybody to artificially keep my rating up. I'm just getting kind of loopy at this point. Here I missed something. I thought I had a tactic. This actually is okay. This is gonna solve all my problems, though. might as well just lose my pawn here. Queen d2, queen e3. How about rook f1? That's not gonna cut it. What are we doing here? Queen f3. For some reason I had a hallucination I could play queen h5, and that was okay, but it just loses a piece. But my position is so strong I probably could sacrifice a piece. Queen for 2 bishops. Alright, whatever. Black is suddenly back in the game. Upscaler bishops, he should have a real chance to save the game. But it can work both ways. Most importantly, he can't take on e5. How could I sack the queen for 2 bishops, though? I didn't see a way to do it. Queen h5, bishop g6. I looked at that. Queen h5, bishop g6, queen g6, hg6. Pawn takes f6. But he just plays queen takes f6, and then I don't have bishop e5. I wouldn't be surprised if I could draw after sacking my queen for 2 bishops here, but I don't think there's any legitimate chances of winning. Thanks everybody for joining the stream. I'm going to play this challenge against Mahor, and we might have time for one more maximum. Depending though, maybe not. I don't have too much time today. I usually have to leave a little early on Wednesdays. Please submit games for the subscriber stream on Thursday. 6:30 p.m. I go over subscriber submitted games with analysis here on lichess and Twitch, 6:30 CET. So, we're still better. That's a relief. We're still winning. You gotta make sure you take this one. We're up a clear pawn. We have a Botvinnik bishop on d5. Black still lost. Well, this loses out of hand. Slight mate problem. Helpful opponent. Okay, thank you for the game. Mahur beat me the first time we played. I also just got a 300-bit donation from this player. He's now leading the cheers for the week with 300 ahead of Oms, Mr. Coffee, and WJ Loof. Thanks to all of you. Now, how was it I lost the first game? Because it's nice to learn from your mistakes. I'm supposed to play weird openings. I was black and I was just down 2 pawns and resigned. It was a very impressive game. It was a King's Indian. Alright. I was playing the black side of King's Indian. Interesting. We'll try something different. Jim, thank you for the donation of 400 bits. Jim is the leader. So if you'd like to submit a game for Thursday, let me know. Send me a message here on lichess with the game, preferably with the game PGN. Not PGN, but I mean just send a link to a study with the game in it, ideally, or a link to the game itself if it was played here on lichess. Oddly enough, I just had this variation in the Perenni Memorial against the 2100 player. Knight h6 is a move, it turns out, that I've never tried. Jim, another 100. Cementing his place in first place. Jim shared 3 emotes to the stream with his donation. Cheer reward. The Astermate. What is the Astermate? I'm forgetting what I did in my game now. Oh. My opponent did something different here. He played g3, which is a really cool idea, actually. I ended up playing similarly to Magnus Carlsen. It was funny, I made this move that I thought was kind of sketchy, and I was lamenting it. Like, I went to the bathroom for a break, and I was thinking, what a stupid move, you should have never done that. These are the thoughts going through my head while I was away from the board for like 3 minutes. And I went back and I won the game, and I went home and I checked it, and it turned out that, of course, like Magnus had played exactly the same move. I thought it was like totally coffee house, sort of cheap, garbage style chess. It was, but I felt validated that it had been played by a good player. It seems to say I should have played a Stonewall. Well, that's what I said, pawn to be wild. I mean, I don't know, You should consult Simon Williams. But, it seemed to me like you had a decent Stonewall where my rook is misplaced on e1. I had a game with a Vietnamese guy, Duong. I don't know how you pronounce that. Well, I don't know. But D-U-A-N-G, Duong, I always thought. But it's probably something completely else. I'm bad with Vietnamese names. He did something exactly like this in a similar position against me. But I suspect my bishop was on G2 instead of F3. It doesn't make a huge amount of difference. He played queen b6, rook a b8, and rook fc8, and then played for b5, and I had nothing. Just a quick draw. Structurally, black is slightly better here. How did you know I like Ginger? Well, if you play that opening, I mean, that's his pet system. He lives for that stuff. Probably the mutual open file is the most important right now. This is a weird move, but it allows for my king to go to the center. I probably don't want to play g5, allowing bishop h5 check in the immediate future. h4 is an excellent move. Again, my opponent seems stronger than his rating. He's 1600 in bullet. Alright. Now h5 looks like a mistake, but who knows? Maybe it's not. Double-edged move. Pawns are on the wrong color, but I may not be able to break through. That becomes the issue. Interesting. There's some nasty traps here. Not certain about anything here. All I know is that I have a better structure. Very weird position. Takes. Bishop takes f5. I can't give him any hints. You know, he probably listens to the stream and then... I won't be moving to Turkey, Acerbate. If Hungary ever leaves the EU, I'll move to Romania. Close, though. G4, F5. This is very risky for him to put his pawns, you know, too many pawns in the white squares. Romania's a beautiful country. Very diverse. Man. I know a lot of chess players, so I have a lot of connections. Most closely to their... Alright. Because Hungary is on the... in a very bad but very bad relationship with the EU now. It's not completely outside the realm of possibility that they could end up leaving the EU. They're probably one of the most likely to. Even more than Greece. Alright, what's happening here? I don't understand what happens after I take on G4, Bishop E4, H6. Can I do this? Or is there some trick? Yeah, Orban hates the EU, so it's not clear what's going to happen. He likes their money, though, so it's kind of a paradox. Bishop E2. I mean, at this point now, I want to make sure I don't get that pawn stuck on the wrong color. I think I'm winning, but maybe not. You know, he can take that pawn whenever he wants. I think I'm being overly optimistic. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. So King G3. Although I have a protected passed pawn, in a king and pawn endgame, he'll kill my protected passed pawn with F4. This is weird. Funny move here, King E8. Probably bad. Maybe not. Yeah, Netman, but it's double-edged. Very, very double-edged. It seems strange to play King E8, but I'm seeking counterplay along the F-file. Whose king is better placed? Bishop B5. There's one major drawback to this, which I will not mention. I don't think Rook C1 does anything. Well, it would draw my king away, I guess, but wasn't my major concern. There was something else that was bothering me about that position. Now I think he's in trouble. And objectively, we should be able to slowly improve. I'm just not sure how exactly to break through. Probably rook f5 and just take the d5 pawn. I mean, I thought the key was to trade the bishops to get the rook to e6 and go for the h6 pawn. That was the problem with king e8. I'm not going to be able to take both these challenges. I'll play one last game against bone atrophy, but I've got to go. A little bit short of time today. Make it quick. But now he's guarding that pawn, but he's going to lose a different way. Yeah, it's just collapse. Collapsible. Now my pawns are like deadly. The Outsider. Stephen King novel. We actually have a mating attack. I don't need to go for the pawn. Bishop f5 will do. Camus. Also a significant writer. Now I just have to settle for the pawn. Camus. Camus. I'm good with pronunciations. I specialize in Armenian names and Vietnamese. Alright. I learned from Masturbate phonetic spelling. Phonetic pronunciation, I should say. Taught me everything I know. Why didn't I play rook c3? I have no way out. Speaking of out. Ugh, not a good choice. The most expedient path to victory is to free the king. King freedom. We need the king. Support. Pre-move. Alright, last game for today. Bone Atrophy had a draw yesterday. Alright, one last weird opening for today. The dunst. But I don't want to transpose something stupid like the Jabava London or whatever. Yeah, I looked at the game, Bone Atrophy, and I was really crushing you with f5, but it didn't occur to me at all to play such a risky move. And then I played b6, which was horrendous. I just got done saying that b6 was a bad move. No London. Another Simon Williams specialty. The London is really... Isn't this sound? The Linkspringer. The Linkspringer. None of our German friends are here today. All right. Now what? When in doubt, just make a neutral knight move. So, when you get the pieces out, the pieces, bishop h6, bishop g5, bishop g5, looks logical. I think I'll be castling eventually. I don't know which side. He wants to play knight on bd7, but he's got a lot of sketchy weaknesses on the white squares. Looks extremely dubious. So, the bishop g5 isn't so good anymore. g3 is interesting. I changed my mind. Yeah, but now it's a little hard to play bishop g5 without hanging my rook. Knight g5, I mean. The other bishop. Not really a safe looking situation for black. Perhaps he goes for e5. I could just castle. What happens if e5 castles? I could play e5, d5. Now it's like knight g5, bishop h1, knight e6, queen b8, knight g7 check. King f7, bishop h6. With the idea of bishop f7. It just seems too good to pass up. This is Coffee House, but it's our last game. You could play knight f8. It's probably not that bad. Actually, I would probably play that myself. Knight f8 takes all the fun out of it. It's not that bad for black. This might not even be sound. Maybe you ought to take the material. You could also play queen c8. I said b8. I wasn't sure it makes a difference. I thought he'd want to get off the diagonal of the h3 bishop. I really have to go, guys. Super late today. So is your bishop trapped? Is my knight trapped? Yeah, maybe I shouldn't do that. Realistically, bishop h6 just sets me up for failure. I think I'd rather not say I did. If I play bishop h6, then I'm like liable to get hit by knight g8 problems. So basically, like, if I play this, bishop at h6, he plays knight f8, guarding e6, and then knight g8, at some point will threaten to undermine my whole position. Not clear. If queen b7, f3, and your bishop's trapped, That's a good point. Now I have bishop h6. Actually looks pretty strong. You will never have a restful night's sleep in this game. The knight on e6 is difficult to live with. Maybe he still has playable game. I don't know. I don't really know what to suggest. Giving back the exchange somehow? Bishop, knight g8 maybe. Knight g8's not good. Seriously, folks, what do you suggest? Rook g8. And then queen d3. I mean, it looks pretty bad. Black's losing at least the exchange back. Right? I feel like I'm being kind of materialistic, though. There was a very big part of me wanted to play queen d2 instead of knight g5. But I didn't see what my plan was. It has to involve moving pawns forward. Probably that's where I should be working, you know, like queen d2, e4. This isn't all that clear. I'm not sure I'm even threatening anything. Are you threatening me? Okay. No. It's like mate, but it's not. It's better than mate. Because mate ends the torture. And this just goes on for forever. To the sadistic chess player, white's position is better than mate. We can continue to torture the opponent indefinitely. But I think, like, seriously, he should play knight g8. I don't know what else you're going to do. b5. Try to be creative. Should be b5 coming up on the horizon, I think. Not so easy. The rook is free, but I'm only up the exchange, so material's even when I take his rook. Probably like b5, knight d5. Now it's almost mate. Oh god. Did you do that? Smothered mate. Yes. Acerbate's favorite. This ends the suffering, though. Self-mate. Thank you guys, I gotta go. But it was fun. And this way, black doesn't have to suffer any longer than necessary. Oh, I will be back tomorrow night. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks, Mr. Coffee. Thanks, everybody. Whoops, there goes the camera. Ponda, you just killed the whole setup. Sorry. Oh, I broke my leg. We'll see you guys later. Sorry about the camera. Bye-bye.